the world today? It's in love. I'm back with another reaction video. We are looking at engines of Amtrak Turboliners. Alright, can we get at least 2 likes on this video? Because this is a part 2 of the playlist of engines of Amtrak. So without further ado, yeah, we're recording. Here we go! Oh, stop playing.
Oh, the Turboliner train sets. What a strange looking thing they were. As you can tell, today's edition of Engines of Amtrak is all about the Turboliner train sets.
Turboliners!
Of an RTG or RTL is just another name for the Turboliner in case you get confused later on with the names.
I won't care.
Is a French-built Turboliner, and an
I can tell by the
RTL is an
color.
American-built Turboliner.
I can tell by the color. It looks like a popsicle. Oh, we're back in the Sonic Unleashed music.
Locomotive designs to replace their then rustic fleet of E8s and E9s. The Turboliner originated out of France, where the train sets were referred to as the Turbo Train. The Turbo Train sets were used on France's nationalized railway, the National Railway Company of France, or SNCF. In 1967, SNCF converted a 2-car X4300 class DMU into a prototype version of the turbo train known as the XR8575 train set, or Special Gas Turbine Unit, shortened to TGS. The train set would use a gas turbine engine placed into the trailer car and have a new cab built for the lead unit, all while retaining its original diesel motor and transmission. The prototype's gas turbine system was fairly similar to the United Aircraft Company, or UAC's, turbo train operating in the US and Canada. Test runs of the TGS were conducted starting April 25, 1967, and the TGS reached a speed of 157 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness. More numbers!
1971. This led to the first generation of turbo trains, the Class T 1000
okay, this makes me want to go to
turbine
sleep!
unit, or ETG. The ETG was produced from 1969 to 1972 by...
Oh, you know, it's almost as exciting as more numbers. More letters! They ain't talking about, oh, word sentence. I mean all the abbreviations, and acronyms, and all that.
And gas turbine engine.
It's about as much as that as there are numbers! You know how I feel about numbers. Actually, you know, because I never really said how I feel about them. I don't know how I feel about them.
SDHR diesel mechanical engine.
But look at all these letters.
ETG was primarily used in the east and northeastern
I feel like I'm back
regions
in
of France.
elementary school.
A second generation of turbo trains were produced by an
Don't need that.
industry called the Class T 2000 gas turbine row, or RTG. 41 of these RTGs were produced from 1972 to 1976. The RTG could reach speeds of 99 miles an hour. The RTG used a 1,100 horsepower gas turbine for units with odd-numbered cabs. Back in the United States, Amtrak noted the Class T 2000 RTGs and decided in August of 1973 to lease 2 train sets from
Yeah, it seems
Amtrak
good to me
at a
too.
price of $85,000 a month, equivalent to $4.8 million. Initially, Amtrak based the RTG train sets out of Chicago, being placed into service on a Chicago to St. Louis corridor line.
It must be
Amtrak
cold
heralded
over
the
there. Look at all that snow!
Travel news since the 747. Trains Magazine editor-in-chief David P. Morgan was on board the first run
What's up, David?
on September 28th of 1973. He praised the large windows making for easy viewing in contrast to the rifle slot-sized windows used on the Bud Metroliner. He also praised the smooth riding of the train even on rough tracks. Morgan also commented on the narrow aisleways and limited seat comfort. Amtrak found the advantages of the RTGs would be increased availability, higher speed on curves, and the decreased weight of the RTGs would emit less wear and tear on the tracks. Amtrak was quickly impressed with the trains and ordered 4 sets that entered service in 1975 on a Chicago to Milwaukee corridor and Chicago to Detroit corridor. 6 of these train sets cost $18 million, equivalent to $94 million today. Amtrak proposed ordering 14 more train sets for the then partially electrified Northeast Corridor. This would have caused the need to increase passenger fares, and the United States Department of Transportation blocked the proposal. Amtrak sets came with 5 cars, 2 power cars, and a basic cafe car. The RTGs were fitted for American standards by equipping the train sets with a Nathan P1234A5 air horn, a variation of the Nathan P5. Here are a few samples.
Jeez! Give a warning sometime!
power cars had a coupler, but in between the coaches, as they were built in France, had buffer and turnbuckle European couplings. The 6 Turboliner units bought were used exclusively in Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, and Wisconsin. Later in the 1970s,
I've never been to any of those states.
The RTG Turboliners were fitted with a middle headlight.
I'm still feeling
some motorists
effects of the horns.
For an automobile. The RTGs proved much more reliable compared to the UAC turbo train, which experienced tilting and mechanical issues. The Turboliners also took over Midwestern duties from the failing SDP-40F. The success of these Turboliners and increased passenger ridership brought Amtrak to the decision to
one check DK.
Yeah. Rather than being built by TNF in France, they were manufactured by Rohr Industries in Chula Vista, California. The newly ordered Turboliners were classified as RTLs. One RTL set could accommodate 264 passengers, and sometimes an extra coach would be added to the consist. The RTLs would be the last gas turbine train set purchased by Amtrak, as conventional diesel-electric locomotives proved cheaper to operate. The RTLs were fitted for third rail operation in Grand Central Terminal and Pennsylvania Station in New York City as well. Under third rail operation, the train sets were limited to 45 miles an hour. The RTLs could operate up to 950 miles without needing to be refueled. Though the Turboliners were meant for high-speed service, they never could reach their full potential due to the track condition they operated on during the time. In 1981, due to high operating costs, Midwest service of the Turboliners was retired and F40PHs took over. Turboliners were then fixed to service in the northeastern U.S. Alongside the new RTLs, 3 RTGs were rebuilt to join in on service on the Empire Corridor in 1988. That stretched from New York City to Buffalo, New York. Insufficient maintenance in the early 1990s led to reduced reliability, and Amtrak then retired the RTG-2s after one caught fire in Pennsylvania Station on September 11, 1994. This action officially retired all French-built Turboliners, otherwise known as RTGs. The aforementioned events left 7 RTL Turboliner train sets in use. In 1995, Amtrak and the state of New York began a combined effort to rebuild a single RTL Turboliner train set at a cost of $2 million, equipping the set with a new turbine producing 1,600 horsepower. The interiors were renovated and the paint scheme was changed. The newly designed RTL-2 was able to reach a top speed of 125 miles an hour and consumed less fuel than its predecessor. In 1998, Amtrak and New York State began cooperating once again and started the High-Speed Rail Improvement Program. $185 million would be allocated to improve service on the Empire Corridor by rebuilding 7 RTL Turboliners into RTL-3 standards. However, due to multiple delays, production didn't start until April 2003. Only 1 out of 5 additionally scheduled Turboliner sets that were expected to enter service in 2002 were ever completed, but never entered revenue service. 7 Turboliners were then painted into the new Acela paint scheme and renumbered in 2001. One rebuilt RTL-3 that was tested reached 125 miles an hour in February of 2001. However, Joseph H. Boardman, then Commissioner of the New York State Department of Transportation and a later future president of Amtrak, accused the rail corporation of stealing the train sets and threatened to find a new buyer for intercity state rail service.
Stealing? What would they steal? Coal?
Corridor service to replace the Turboliners. In April of 2005, New York State reached a deal with Super Steel, the company commissioned to rebuild the
Super Steel! A sequel to the Shaquille O'Neal movie that I totally did not watch.
Super Steel would also have to move the 4 unfinished sets into a
But I
storage
haven't heard
at a
good things
nearby
about it.
industrial park. In 2007, Amtrak and New York State finally settled their lawsuit by auctioning off their Turboliners in 2012 for $420,000 with spare parts. Scrapping of the spare Turboliners began in 2013. And just like that, an air conditioning problem and a lawsuit with the state of New York officially ended the 30-year career of the Turboliner range. All Turboliner train sets are presumed scrapped. While the Turboliner had an extensive running life, they seem to be overlooked oftentimes in Amtrak's history, but will always be remembered by those who rode, built, and drove them. They will always be a part of the history book of Amtrak, the National Railroad Passenger Corporation. Thanks for watching.
And it's over. Whew. I had no idea what was going on. So I thank you guys for watching this reaction. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe for more on my channel. Recommend me to some more videos you would like for me to react to. Ring that bell for notifications on upcoming videos. I will see you guys in 2021. Until next year, I send love, and I'll see you guys soon!